Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to Popternative. This is the talk show and podcast where we have digital discussions, the worlds of TV, film, news, sports, music, lifestyle, everything really depending on a guest. Talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis. On social media, you know me as PD Beats. You'll soon recognize my guest from a show launching on Disney Plus April 16th alongside John Stamos called Big Shot. Tisha Custodio is with us. Tisha, welcome to Popternative.
Thank you for having me.
You know what? I have to tell you, I've been involved. I've played sports all my life. I'm a big TV person. I mean, this just kind of puts both of my loves together. I mean, a sports TV show, but it's way more than just about sports. And I think that's an important thing as well. It's about these relationships with these teammates and their coach. It's a little bit of a tale of two shows, a little bit, Tisha.
So, the basketball premise is really just like, I guess, a Trojan horse of what's really happening in the show.
Yeah.
It's really a story about redemption and growth, and you see all these characters who have these full lives, and throughout the season they really come into their own in their own way.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I just want to know, like, before we kind of get into Big Shot a little bit, I mean, for you as kind of a storyteller and an actor, when did that all start for you? When did you decide that was something you wanted to do?
It was when I don't remember how old I was, but it was when I was pretty little.
Yeah.
And I saw this audition tape of Leos Longa, who played the original Kim in Miss Saigon. And she looked like me, and I never had that experience where I felt truly represented in media, even if it was on stage. And I wanted to do that for someone else. And I knew that I had that motivation in me. So when it was time for me to choose my high school, I decided to audition for an arts high school in Orange County, and I just fell deeply in love with acting from there.
And can we dive into your character a little bit? Because your character is just so much fun, has a lot going on, and they call your character Mouse, which is amazing as well. Talk a little bit about your character, Tisha.
So Mouse is one of the youngest people on the team, and she's not the most experienced as a person because she is so young. And she comes from a military family. She's very strict and orderly, and she's the most excited for Coach to come to Westbrook. And throughout the season, you really see her come into her own. And I think that it's really fun.
Absolutely. The obvious answer to this question is you hope people enjoy it, they relate to some of the characters, they have a good time. What are you hoping, diving deep into it, what are you hoping that people get out of watching Big Shot, Tisha?
I really hope that, especially our younger audiences who are watching, because our cast is so diverse and the girls on our team, we all come from different backgrounds. And I really hope that the younger audiences will see us and feel represented on screen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, we're kind of, I do need to ask, because again, I got that, I love that, what you said of the Trojan horse was so good, but there is basketball in it. What was the familiarity with basketball and sports before the project?
For me personally?
Yeah.
My dad is like a big basketball person.
Big basketball person.
He played college basketball in the Philippines, and he got a scholarship from it. And I just grew up watching him watch the show, fall in love with the game. And I guess that translated in me in a way that I had a respect for the game.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I actually booked the show and went through like the auditions that I really understood how to play the game, and I had a deeper connection to it.
Absolutely. What was it like? I do have to ask, what was it like working on this show with John Stamos?
He's the sweetest guy I've ever met. I can't say anything bad about him, like honestly, because he's just so supportive. He's so welcoming. And our first conversation was about music, and I just vividly remember that because he just lights up whenever he talks about music, and I love that about him. I was mentioning that I love the band America, and he got so excited because he's best friends with the band members, and he called up one of the band members, and we just had a conversation with him, and
Wow.
it just blew my mind.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let me just call America on speed dial. Let's have a conversation. What's your favorite
Basically.
band? America. Let's call them. Tell them it's your favorite band. And that's basically how it went down.
Yeah.
That is amazing. You were part of you were on April 16th, you were officially going to be part of the Disney families, more specifically the Disney Plus family. How does it feel to be part of the Disney Plus family, Tisha?
I'm super excited. And especially because this is my first big TV show. This is my first TV show in general. And to be on a platform that I grew up watching is, I can't even wrap my mind around it. I'm just so excited.
I know it is. What were some learning experiences for you? You mentioned it's one of your first big TV shows. What were some learning experiences for you as a storyteller on this show?
I learned a lot. As an actor, like more specifically, I learned how a set really works. And because it's so technical, like we have to hit our marks and we have to be aware of the camera. What we're working with the older people who have been in this industry for a very long time and know the ins and outs of it. I found a way to be more relaxed and play with the scene a little more.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's interesting too because you audition for a show, you get the role, you're Mouse, right? There's obviously going to be, there's lines that you have to say, right? But a lot of people have said that they've had an opportunity when they can, to like discover their characters, make them their own a little bit. What was that kind of relationship for you with Mouse? Like, did you have a little bit of like freedom to kind of put some ideas into Mouse in terms of how she presented herself as a basketball player and everything?
Yeah, we over the course of the season, we really got to know the writers, and especially the head writer, Dean Laurie. He's been really receptive to who we are as people, and I think he wrote some of our personality traits into this show. Mm-hmm. So that's been really fun to work with because he's just I can't find the right words to say it, but he's very flexible with the way he writes.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. I'm going to bring up this is like the theory, the middle person theory I always bring up because everyone has this, but I find it interesting and everything. I mean, you were saying, this is one of your first big TV shows. This can arguably be, this is like the breakout role for Tisha Custodio. She's going to be a big shot. She's going to be on Disney Plus, exciting times and everything. So it's interesting because you're looking up to a lot of people in the industry and you're kind of learning and going every day because there's always going to be learning experiences. People are going to see you on April 16th on Disney Plus and be like, wow, like I want to be in those shoes one day. I want to be like on a show like Big Shot. So you're kind of in between, right? Because people are looking up to you and you're looking up to people as well. You're like the middle person. Isn't that an interesting dynamic? Have you ever thought about that?
It's totally interesting.
Yeah.
I hope I never picture myself as a finished product. And I hope that I'll always look up to someone above me or who has something that I would like to achieve later in life. And it's definitely an interesting dynamic knowing that people are going to watch me and want to be in my shoes one day. And I'm going to be honored whenever that day comes.
For sure. And it's interesting because, this is about a high school basketball team. And everyone, the attention's always on college sports and college basketball. And the big diehard sports fans know that high school sports in certain cities and certain countries is really big. But this is also going to dive in a little bit of like how intense high school sports are as well.
Not only high school sports, it's also focusing on high school girls sports.
Yes, of course.
And I don't think that's highlighted as much in media. And I think it's really cool that our show is doing that.
Absolutely. There's, from the first episode, like people are going to see the pilot, they're going to see the first episode, and you're kind of getting to, like, it's interesting. You're getting to know all the characters, but after watching one episode, the growth is already there with the characters. That's going to be a really interesting thing as well. The growth's there after one episode, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to credit that to the writers again,
Yeah.
because they're just so skilled at what they do, and every scene that they write advances at least one of the characters in the way that they grow.
Mhm.
And I'm just really excited for the show.
I know. No, it's going to be so much fun. Tisha, thank you so much for coming on Popternative to talk about Big Shot. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So April 16th, I mean, it's getting close.
Yeah.
The first week is gonna feel so like it's just preparing for everything. It's gonna be so much fun. Has it sunk in that it's so close to dropping?
It's starting to sink in because of these interviews.
Yeah.
I don't think it's fully hit me yet, but I have a couple people. I have family in the Philippines, and they're like screaming out of excitement, and I think that's starting to get to me, like make me more excited about the show.
Oh, absolutely. And where can people follow you on social media to keep up to date with everything?
I'm mostly on Instagram at Tisha Custodio.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Be sure to catch Big Shot April 16th on Disney Plus, starring John Stamos and, of course, Tisha Custodio. It's also going to be an hit as Mouse. Fan favorite already, I'm telling you. Mouse is going to be a fan favorite. This has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Tisha Custodio and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.